guys, what's going on? Zash here, coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Welcome to the video, guys. How are you doing? Today we have some news for you guys. I am a little bit late here. Sorry for the no upload yesterday as well. Kind of have a upper respiratory thing going on here. It feels like it's going around my neck of the woods at least. What about you guys? You healthy? If not, hope you get better soon. If you are, appreciate it, because we never really appreciate our health until we don't have it, right? It's so cliche, but it's so true. It's so true. Few and far are the days that you just kind of walk around and say, I'm happy, I'm healthy today. I'm happy, I'm feeling good today. And then when you're sick, you're like, I wish I was healthy today.
If you are walking and you suddenly feel bad, try to remember, did you ever feel good?
Anyway, guys, we have a new, some buffs to some epic champions. That's good news. Are they enough? Are they the right champions? Are they enough champions? We'll talk about all that and more in just a moment. But we do have an old school fusion. Ew, man.
As a joke.
Dude, I really don't dig the fusions, man. I don't. Are you guys with me? Do you like vastly prefer the fragment summons, or are you not that big of a difference between both of them? I really don't like fusions. The barrier of entry in terms of the caliber of champion that needs to be available for me to go for a fusion is so much higher than a fragment summon. Fragment summons, I'll just go for them all, you know? Anyway, we have Bivald of the Thorn. He's a Sacred Order, Spirit Affinity Legendary Champion. The affinity doesn't matter all that much because he can land all of the stuff that he's doing off of weak hits, which makes him very unique, right? So on his A1, you can read it has a provoke and a heal the ally with lowest HP. On the A2, we have a 2-time attack, probably on a 3-turn cooldown when booked. First hit, provoke. Second hit, leech. Also places a strengthen on himself, and the leech and provoke again can be placed on weak hits. On the Briar Nexus, his A3 ability. You think this one can be booked down to 3 or 4? We will see. Attacks all enemies, damage increased by 5% for each debuff on each enemy. Also heals all allies by 20% of the damage inflicted, and places a shield on them for 2 turns, equal to 20% of the damage inflicted. So this tells me he can actually deal some damage. So he's a support and maybe a nuker and control all in one. Seems pretty freaking strong to me, guys. Seems pretty strong to me, and I have not watched any other videos, so just my opinion. What about you guys? You guys think he's worth going for? I think he definitely is. He also has an awesome passive. Decrease the damage taken by all allies from enemies under provoked debuffs by 15%. I love these passives that mitigate damage on all allies as a passive skill, a passive ability in their kit. Really, really strong to me. Has HP in all battles by 28%. I think he's worth going for. But if you're lazy and you don't like fusions like me, I don't blame you. I don't blame you for passing. It's just a video game at the end of the day, right?
As long as you didn't roll over and cry yourself to sleep with regret, then we're good.
Let me get fired up about this video game here, guys, and talk about these balance changes. Now, I made a video, a week ago, complaining about them not buffing a Void epic champions specifically, and Void legendaries too. There's a few of them that really need it out there, and they didn't touch Voids here either, which is a bummer. You can watch that video. I'm not going to go into the rant again, but Voids and other affinity champions, Voids need to be like 5 times better because that's how much they cost, right? But anyway, I'll shut up for a moment there about that one. You guys have all heard it before, right? Necro Hunter is the first buff here, right? So on his A1, on his A2, it's now going to attack all enemies 1 time if the first attack is critical, okay? So not a bad buff to that ability. On the A3, cooldown's going to be reduced from a 5 to 4 or a 3 when you have it fully booked. His aura, which is going to be added, is going to increase allied crit rate in all battles by 19%. So is that enough to make this dude, viable? I think his multipliers are pretty good, if I remember correctly, on this champion as well, so he can deal some damage. I think that he'll justify newer players, progression players, taking him to maybe level 50 to help them out, but I still don't think it's anything to write home about. What about you guys, right? So that's Necro Hunter. The next one is going to be Kallia, one of my least favorite epic champions inside the game. She's a new player trap, because they see this almost 1600 attack and you think, whoa, she must be the best nuker in the game. And her damage sucks. Her damage sucks. So the first thing I was looking for is increased damage on all of her abilities, increased multipliers on all of her abilities, right? And that is the case with the A1 and the A2, and you guessed it, the A3. So she is getting more damage multipliers, which really, really excites me. I think they actually nailed it on the Kallia buff. So on the A1, damage increased. On the A2, damage increased. By how much? That remains to be seen, right? They don't tell us these numbers. That's all hidden. It's all under the hood, right? So Curse of Nullity now attacks all enemies, has a 75% chance of placing heal reduction. Everything else is the same, except for, again, more damage. On the A3, we have damage increased, and then each hit places an HP burn debuff for 2 turns. So no 60%, just going to be 100% HP burn on the A3. Does it make her an endgame epic champion? No, not in my opinion, but it makes her a lot more enticing, especially if she can really dish out some damage, and it gives, you know, a pretty reliable, especially against bosses, HP burner for people who might have Kallia in their vault. So I actually like this buff as well, or I should say I like it a lot more than Necro Hunter on Kallia. To me, this is my favorite of all the balance changes. Next up, we have Frostbringer.
Let freedom ring.
So when I saw Frostbringer, I'm like, finally, Plarium, finally, you're giving her Frost. About time. No, there's no freeze in her kit. Still, there's no freeze in her kit. This one, I must say, I'm disappointed in the buffs. 2 times at random on the A1 now has a whopping 30%. 30% of placing a heal reduction, plus what, another 20, so 50% of heal reduction on the A1. What a buff, wow. On the Snow Flurry, we have attacks 3 times at random. Each hit has a 75% chance of placing a big version of decreased defense for 2 turns. It can be booked up now to 100%. So a 3-time hitter, each hit has the chance of placing. This one, it's not predicated on the hits, it just places originally. So it's a buff and a nerf, right? Now it's 100% land rate when booked, but now it's not, now it's predicated on critical hits as well, right? So how do you guys feel about that? To me, it's just not nearly enough for Frostbringer, right? I mean, why can't it be an AoE attack, you know? And I hate to be like, you know, whiny about it, but, and I really like, I should just give the disclaimer, I really love that they're going in there and buffing routinely epic champions, even if they're not the voids that I kind of wanted. But man, Frostbringer, she has increased speed, increased attack. To me, you can make Frostbringer super viable for everybody. All you gotta do is change this number to a 4. That's it. And then you got increased attack, increased speed on a 3-turn cooldown when booked. You don't gotta mess with anything else in her kit, or you can actually give her freeze. She brings the frost, right?
I can do that.
But how do you guys feel about that one? You know, that's how I feel about Frostbringer. You know, I feel like she has potential, but geez, just go to that A3 and just make a little tweak, and bada bing, we got it. We got it all right, you know? So we have Woad Painted, man. They're just trying to give Woad Painted a purpose other than to be a one-woman arena or a food champion, right? How many Woad Painteds have you guys fed, used for food in your whole history? Me, it's a lot. It's a lot of Woad Painteds. They all go right into the trash.
My man!
So Woad, they're actually giving a pretty interesting buff too, though, right? Increase base speed from 92 to 97. I like when they increase the base speed on these champions. On cross-up, damage will be based on HP alone, not attack and HP. That's cool. On Undying Fury, removes all debuffs from this champion and 1 random debuff from all allies on top of that. Then it heals this champion by 100%. Then it places a reflex damage, on all allies for 2 turns. And then it grants her an extra turn. It also heals all allies equal to 50% of the surplus heal. And that happens before the reflect damage. Man, that was a pretty good buff on this ability, right? Pretty good buff. On the A3 Overpower, cooldown decreases from 5 to 4, ergo 3 turn when booked, right? Attacks 1 enemy. It now has a 75% chance or 100% when booked of placing block active skills for 2 turns. So that stays the same, basically. So just the cooldown has changed on Woad Painted's A3. I gotta say, it's a pretty significant, it's a good buffs to Woad Painted. But she's still not gonna be great, right? At all, you know? But, you know, at least Undying Fury, that A2, gives her some utility for new players, right? But we have to be careful by saying that it's good for new players, because I still think it'd be a mistake for a new player to invest their hard-earned resources or a free-to-play player in a champion like Woad Painted or Frostbringer, you know? And I'm being a little bit nitpicky here, because it's not going to like ruin your account or anything crazy like that, but I still think these champions present somewhat of a trap, you know, for new players, some of these epics. And, you know, I mean, you could argue, again, to level 50, they're certainly a lot more serviceable than they used to be, and even if you have Woad Painted now with the pretty decent A2, like a little bit of a cleanse on there, I think you can make the case she could help you out in faction wars and stuff like that. So I'm definitely for all of these buffs. However, man, there's so many champions that are just as deserving as buffs, especially so many voids, man. When you open those void shards and you pull a Sawai or a Harkin, or I mean, I'm just picking random champions here. There's a lot of bad void epics. They should be really good. No? Am I that crazy? Again, I don't want to get in the entire rant. I'll link the video if you guys want more of Ash rambling and complaining about random Raid Shadow Legends topics. But for me, I really want to see them go in there and fix two things. I want to see them go in there and fix the void epics and make them better. And I think Azure has it too, does he? Yes, he does. Just like they did on the A1 of Woad Painted, but not any other ability. I want to see them get rid of this attack and HP on champions, right? It's really difficult to build a champion, or champions like there's I think Doomscreech is one, right? Let me try to find one real quick here. But champions who are an HP based champion that have some abilities on attack. It's probably a bad example. There's a lot of them in the game. I'm just drawing a blank right now. But champions who are HP based that have random abilities that are based on attack, or attack based that have a random ability that scales off of something weird like HP and attack. For me, it's so much easier to build these champions if we can focus on one stat. Is that too much to ask? So I would like to see them, kind of like they did with the A1 of Woad Painted, go in there and fix all of that baloney, right? On top of, buffing some of the void epics. So guys, what do you think about the fusion, and what do you think about these buffs? Am I wrong? Does it make any of these buffs a little bit more enticing? I always try to see things through the lens, again, of not just endgame players, right? Can these champions be serviceable for everybody? And to me, it's borderline, a little bit more enticing, but still not going to be a game changer if you pull any of these epics, in my opinion. Guys, what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and as always, take care, guys.